Have you ever wondered what happens when a narcissist knows that you're onto them? When you know that they're a narcissist or you're like wise to their games? By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what happens when a narcissist knows that you're onto them, and you're going to be able to be prepared and ready for it. Hi, I'm Rebecca Zung. I've been recognized as one of the top 1% of attorneys in the country, and I've written 2 best-selling books, Negotiate Like You Matter and Breaking Free, a step-by-step divorce guide. And I've helped so many people, thousands of people, millions of people actually, if you include everyone on this channel. And I've helped them go from lives of drama, trauma, chaos, paralysis, powerlessness, and guided them and supported them all the way to lives of feeling, breaking free, and creating new beginnings and new futures. And that's what I do for you right here on this channel and in these videos. So make sure that you subscribe and you hit that notification bell, and that way you'll get notified when I upload brand new content, go live, AAA sessions, Ask the Attorney Anything. I've got some crazy awesome events coming up, and you're going to hear all about those, but you've got to be subscribed to my channel. And now let's talk about what happens when a narcissist knows that you know. And I personally have had to deal with a couple of narcissists in my own life, and that's why I have this passion. Yes, I developed skills on how to negotiate at a mastery level by being an attorney, and at a mastery level by being an attorney in high conflict situations, because I've represented people in high net worth and high conflict divorce cases for over 20 years. But when I really learned about narcissism and how to apply narcissism to the process of negotiation was when I actually had to deal with a couple of narcissists in my own life. They're horrible. They mess with your brain. They create new neuronal patterns that make it really, really hard for you to go on with your life and feel whole. But I promise you that you are whole. I promise you that you will be able to get out of this. It happened to me, and if it happened to me, it can happen to anyone. And if I can get out of it, you can get out of it, and I will show you the way step by step, and that's what I do for you here. So what I found when the narcissist, that I had to deal with knew that I knew, is that they would start love bombing again. That's one of the things that they start to do. So they got you into their web in the first place by love bombing you, by promising that they would do things, by making you think that they're so wonderful and so perfect. So they try to remind you of this false person that you thought that they were. But they start doing little things for you again, and you start to go, well, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're not as bad as I thought that they were. And I just want to remind you of what that does to your brain. There was a study done by a psychologist out of Stanford, and his name was Robert Sapolsky, and he did a study on monkeys and their brains and what would happen if they got rewarded for good things that they did. And what he found was when the monkeys were rewarded every single time for good things, nothing happened in their brains at all. But when they were rewarded intermittently, variably, where they had no idea when they were going to be rewarded, then the dopamine levels in their brains actually rose to the level of when people's brains are on cocaine. Like, it's such a high, it felt so good to them. And so they were scrambling constantly, even more so than any other time, trying to hustle for getting those treats and getting that dopamine level release. And so that's what happens to us when we're dealing with narcissists, because they do this love bomb, devalue, discard thing, and it's back and forth. They can be love bombing you while they're discarding you, love bombing while they're devaluing you, and it's all happening sort of at once. Kind of starts with love bombing, ends with discard, but this toxic stew in between. If you want to to know more about the 3 stages of a narcissistic relationship, make sure you check out my videos on love bombing, devaluing, and discarding so that you can understand each one of the stages a little bit more. But basically, that's what they do to your brain. So you find yourself like drawn back in when they know that you know, there they go with the love bombing again. And you sit there and you go, well, you know what? It's not terrible all the time. Sometimes it can be really good. And that's how you end up sticking in this and staying in this for a lot longer than you probably feel like you should have. But don't beat yourself up over it, because they are master manipulators. That's what they do. They're usually very charming and very skilled at getting you into their little web of control. They're usually very, very charismatic people and very skilled at doing that. So that's one of the first things that they do when they know that you know. And by the way, if you think that this is all so sick, give me a so sick in the comments. The next thing that narcissists will try to do when they know that you know is they'll start to try to get in with people around you. So they'll start to triangulate and line up their flying monkeys. So, in my experience, what I had is that these particular narcissists would try to get super close to other people in my family and do really lovely, wonderful things for them, so that everybody else in the world thinks that these people are so wonderful, and that way it empowers them to be able to turn around and say to you, you're the only one that thinks that there's something wrong with me. You're the only one that thinks that there's a problem. No one else thinks that. Everybody else thinks that I'm wonderful. And if you want to know more about Narcissist Favorite sayings, check out my video on Narcissist Favorite sayings. But those are some of the things that they do. They start doing all kinds of wonderful things to look good and line up those flying monkeys so that if there's a discard coming, you're going to be alone. You're going to feel alone. You're going to feel like it's you against the world. So the next thing that happens is the birth of the smear campaign. This is when you start to see them kind of starting to badmouth you. It's part of the whole flying monkeys thing where they are triangulating and lining up people against you. Especially the covert narcissists are really good at this. They start saying things in ways like, oh, I don't know why she just doesn't, like me, or she, or he's done these things to me. They kind of try to present themselves as a victim, like you're the one who is the cheater. You're the one who's the addict. You're abusing alcohol. Who maybe is treating them badly in some way. They try to. It's a smear campaign, but they don't go straight out and say that person is awful. They're really, really good at presenting it in a way that you are the one that's been wronging them and targeting them. And they might even say things that you've been doing that they've been doing to you, like cheating or not paying attention to them, or whatever it is that you have an issue with. That's when they'll start to say those things to other people and line up people. The best flying monkeys for them are the ones that are people that they think that you really love or trust, or that you think that you have a relationship with, or that you think that you are close to. Because if they can get one of those flying monkeys, this is one of the things that happened to me, is one of the narcissists in my life was actually able to get one of the flying monkeys to come to me and say, why don't you give this person another chance, and all this stuff. And they don't know any of the story. They don't know any of what happened. And, but they're just living in this fantasy world that, you did something wrong. And so what can you do about it? In my experience, going back to those flying monkeys and trying to change them and trying to now turn them against the other person. It really doesn't necessarily work. And then you just spend all your time worrying about it. And so in my experience, the best thing to do is just to put strict boundaries into place. Do not continue to give them any sort of narcissistic supply. As for the smear campaigns, as for the flying monkeys, you just have to learn to just go, I can't fight every single battle. I can only be who I am. I can only be the best that I can. And I have to hope that karma will show itself, or I will show myself to the world as who I really actually am, and be okay with that. And as for the love bombing, do not fall for it. Just understand that that's their manipulation tactic. That's what they use in order to gain control over you again. So when the narcissist knows that you know, it's not necessarily going to be a pretty sight. Narcissists always get worse before they get better. And when that cover comes off, when that mask comes off, and they realize that you know who they are, they're not going to really want to have much to do with you anymore, unless they can feel like they can get narcissistic supply out of you in the form of intimidating you or manipulating you in some way. The reason why they're still hanging around, if you've got a court case that's going on for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I just talked to somebody 6 years, is because they're still getting narcissistic supply out of it. That's all they want. And if they're getting something out of it, some feeling of high, because they are able to intimidate you and make your life miserable, they're going to continue to hang around. So the key in creating leverage in negotiating with them is going to be in that narcissistic supply. So if you are getting ready to negotiate with a narcissist, grab my free Crush My Negotiation Prep Worksheet at winmynegotiation.com. That's the URL, winmynegotiation.com. Come join me in my free private Facebook group, Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. So much information there and so much help from others there as well. If you like this video, give it a like, give it a share so that other people can get this content as well. And make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop me that comment, tell me what's going on, or just tell me that you just think it is so sick what they are doing. I'm so glad that you stopped by my channel today. Remember, today's a great day to start negotiating your best life. I'll see you in the next video.